A Philippines Coast Guard ship is targeted in the South China Sea. It was operating in a contested area when it was intercepted by Chinese vessels. What is going on?
We're looking at an attempt to maintain control of a vital sea area. We're not looking at an attempt to dominate the world ocean.
But the maritime landscape is changing, and China is at the centre of it with its ambitious programme to turn its navy into a formidable power.
It's very much a case of one country having an agenda to secure a region and other countries working out how to respond to that.
Should we be concerned?
It is not in China's interest to start a major war.
But before we go any further with Professor Lambert, let's take stock. 2 decades ago, in the early 2000s, the People's Liberation Army Navy was mainly a coastal defence force with an ageing fleet of Soviet-era vessels, limited power projection capabilities and a lack of modern technological advancements. Things couldn't be more different now.
China has rapidly modernised. It now has numerically the largest navy in the world, with more than 350 ships, including 3 aircraft carriers, 12 nuclear and 48 diesel-powered submarines. And that has allowed it to implement its anti-access or area denial strategy in the South China Sea.
So what China wants is control of those seas. It wants to be able to exclude all potential or real hostile forces from that sea area.
And the strategy involves the use of naval assets to restrict freedom of navigation. China is challenging the balance of power across the Indo-Pacific.
The South China Sea would be the obvious place to impose economic sanctions against China if you happen to be a dominant naval power like the United States. So from Chinese security perspectives, being able to offshore that threat through your own naval strength is very attractive. In fact, it's essentially critical.
So yes, the South China Sea is a flashpoint in China's naval ambitions. Beijing has laid claim to nearly the entire region. Its militarization of artificial islands and increased patrols have sparked tensions with neighbouring countries and raised concern with NATO. In 2021, the UK took a proactive stance in defending international maritime norms. The Royal Navy's flagship, HMS Queen Elizabeth, sailed through the South China Sea as part of its Indo-Pacific deployment. It conducted exercises with allied navies in a show of strength and commitment to the free and open navigation of international waters.
Sends a very powerful signal that it is not one nation that is involved here. It is an alliance, and that alliance includes ships from the European sector, but also from the Asia-Pacific.
The Taiwan Strait is also a concern. China views Taiwan as a breakaway province and hasn't ruled out the use of force to bring the island under its control. It frequently conducts naval drills near Taiwan, and that raises tensions with the US and allies who support Taiwan's right to self-defense. A conflict in the Taiwan Strait could have far-reaching consequences for global security. Japan, Australia and NATO members could be drawn into it.
China is very much leveraged into the global market now. It's not economically autarkic. It's not operating as the Soviet Union did in the Cold War, essentially a separate economy. It's absolutely plugged into and profiting from the global economy. And whatever it can do in the South China Sea, it cannot control the seas beyond that region. So in the event of hostilities, it would be cut off from the rest of the world. Not necessarily in the South China Sea, but certainly beyond it. So we're looking at an attempt to maintain control of a vital sea area. We're not looking at an attempt to dominate the world ocean.
So that's reassuring, but China's focus on controlling the South China Sea is still a significant concern that has the potential to lead to escalation. Claire Sadler, BFBS Forces News. Thanks for watching. For more from BFBS Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.